Unfortunately, we both know that one of them.
Hi guys, my name's Richard, and I'm getting a bit craggy and crinkly around the edges, but believe it or not, I'm not old enough to be Lisa's dad. I'm a slightly older brother. And I guess the sad implication of that is, of course, that our old man, Tony Roberts, sadly couldn't be here today. He's otherwise indisposed, let's say. And of course, it's a crying shame because today, seeing Lisa, the absolute apple of his eye, getting hitched to the man of her dreams, really would have been the proudest day of his life. And of course, Liz, our amazing mother Lisa, would have given anything to have him here as well. But then again, I know he's here in our hearts and he's here in our minds, and I know he's sitting down over us, and he's thinking, thank God I didn't have to wear one of those bonkers wedding. That's exactly what he's thinking right there. So on that note, I did want to run my first toast, and just be warned, I've got a few to come as well, so please don't be tempted to net that whole glass of wine on the first one. I'm particularly looking at that table there, and the table behind, the Morris and the Blues. Party at Monsters, a lot of them. So, if you will then, guys, what I'm asking you to do, this is a drink to absent friends and family. So please, think about somebody that you wish could be here, right now. And then repeat after me, if you will. We miss you.
We miss you.
So, now I mentioned these wedding outfits a couple of moments ago, and I wanted to share a little story with you. So, on the run-up to the wedding, I was talking to Gareth about the outfits that we were having to wear, and Gareth dropped a bombshell. So, what he said was, Rich, we're thinking about getting you and my brother Sam to wear hats. Myself and Damien don't really wear suit hats. Now, it doesn't take Columbo to spot a pattern there, right? Gareth was trying to hide this little mess under the hat, or the mat. And in fairness, Gareth can get away with comments like that because, and let's be honest, the dude has got too much hair. No man needs that amount of hair, it's like a flipping bear cub. I always reckon I could weave some kind of toupee out of what you use. Anyway, back to the speech. On a positive note, I think, sadly, with my dad not being here, I've basically been promoted. Because when you think about it, where does the brother of the bride fit in? He's barely a footnote at the wedding, right? But the father of the bride, basically, I've been promoted into the top 5 most important people in the room. So every crowd. And of course, I get to be father of the bride without spending a single penny. So good times. Having said that, I have been stressing a lot about this speech because I want to make Lisa and Gareth and my mum Liz and God rest his soul, my dad, really proud of me. And of course, the speech was innately tricky for me to write because I'm assuming the father of the bride role, so I've got to do all the fatherly duties. But I'm not Lisa's dad, I'm her brother. And having endured 30 grueling years of sibling rivalry, I've got some axes to grind and hatchets to bury. So yeah, you're right, I was a bit nervous, sis. So basically what I'm saying is that I'm going to be wearing 2 hats today. I'll be putting on my father of the bride hat, doing the fatherly duties, so thanking all you wonderful people, giving some guidance and advice to the new couple, and just showering Lisa with praise. And then I'm going to put on my brother hat and tell you all how it really is. Admittedly, most people would have just left that idea of 2 hats as a metaphor, but my little old brain isn't quite sophisticated enough for that. So I literally have 2 hats. I've got one of mine, you can see there, and I've got one of my old man's old hats as well. So it's going to work something a little bit like this, okay? So, brother mode. Dad, look at the state of that hat. That's, who do you think you are, Farmer Giant? You can't even de-weed the garden, let alone run a farm. And then it'll be in dad mode. Shut up, boy. Look at the state of that hat. Who do you think you are, the Fresh Prince of Krakow? It's a kid's hat, you're 32 years old, boy. Grow up, get a proper job. Shut up, Dad, you sound cool. So, it works, it's a bit weird. It's a bit weird. A little bit like that. Right. So I figure, on with the first of my fatherly duties then. So, first and foremost, thank you to everybody in the room, absolutely. yeah, there's several of you who've travelled hundreds of miles to be here, and for everybody, it's that close to Christmas, it couldn't have been easy. And of course, each and every single one of you have played an important part in making Lisa and Gareth the people that they are today, so I hope you're proud of yourselves. So actually, genuinely on that note, please hold the glasses aloft. I've got another toast. Please repeat after me. We are amazing. We are amazing. Thank you. And of course, I've got some important shout-outs to the wedding, the wedding party. Firstly, the mums. They put an enormous amount of effort in today on the run-up to the wedding, and they've helped keep the couple's sanity intact. And don't they look beautiful, both of them? Yeah. Absolutely stunning. Let's have one more whistle. And that guy only gets louder as the night goes on. So yeah, and then of course, as well as the mums there, who've really done the couple proud, there's the dads, Dave and me. They're both classically distinguished and devilishly handsome. And when you couple that with their immense intellect and charisma, they don't make them like they used to, eh, Dave? And then swapping back into brother mode then, I've got to give a big shout out to Damien and Sam, who organised an absolutely amazing last night of freedom for Gareth. And that night we only managed to lose 2 of the lads, which might be a record for a stag do, I reckon. I don't know if we ever found them again. And then of course, there's the bridesmaids. So back into dad mode. Sorry about this. It's not really harder work than I thought it would be. And then there's the bridesmaids, Nikki and Becky, who both again look absolutely beautiful today. And I think they've brought a heap of glamour and class to the proceedings, completely unlike the hen do, by the way. So Martin, can we have another walk whistle for the bridesmaids? And then also, as a point of interest, and this will shock you to your very core, but one of the bridesmaids, Nikki, is actually, she's single at the moment. So any single fellas in the room, if you play your cards right tonight, you know, I'll check it out. I think it's illegal. Moving on. Quick. And then, of course, while we're talking about looking absolutely beautiful, there's one person in the room who utterly and completely steals the show, and that's our gorgeous bride, Lisa Jenkins. Can we have one more, of course? Again, just as a warning, because I know that occasionally when I put on my brother hat and I take a pop at the bride on her big day, I know that's not very traditional. But then again, just look around you. I mean, the groomsmen are wearing trainers, for goodness sake. This isn't exactly what you call traditional, right? Except for the love between the bride and the groom. And that's not just traditional, that's the stuff of fairy tales. So Lisa and Gareth are amazingly well suited. They share so many of the same passions: music, photography, travel, boxing, and they've got a fondness of wearing weird and wonderful clothing that frankly other people probably wouldn't have the nerve to wear to a fancy dress. And their love for all of the silly things in life is contagious. They're an absolute joy to be around. And being a joy to be around is one of Lisa's traits she's had since the day that she was born. So as Lisa's dad, my first memory of Lisa was when she was born in the Royal Gwent Hospital one chilly February morning. She was tiny and lovable. A bit weird looking, but lovable always. And I knew as soon as I saw her cradled in her mum's loving arms that this little bundle of joy would change my life forever. But then, you know, as Lisa's brother, my first memory of Lisa is very different. So I was about 5, Lisa was about 4 years old, and we were on one of our usual family outings, Robert's family outings, to an old stately home. We eventually ended up in this enormous dining room, and it was packed. The dining room was packed with over 100 other tourists, and amongst that heaving crowd, we lost Lisa. She died off somewhere. She'd actually managed. Well, you know, while we were looking for her, Lisa clambered up into this raised staging area, like the one that I'm on at the moment. And there, she walked up to and stood next to this enormous polar bear who was stood on its hind legs like this stuffed polar bear, stood on its hind legs like that. Anyway, it was at that moment that Lisa started shouting for attention. Dad! Dad! Dad, over here! That the whole room fell silent and turned to face Lisa, at which point she proudly announced, Dad, look how tall I am. My head comes right up to his willy. The entire room, just like now, erupted in laughter, except for us, of course. I think we pretended we didn't know who Lisa was. But aside from the polar bear willy incident, there are two other things you need to know about Lisa, and that's that she's effortlessly cool and stubborn as an ox. So I know exactly where she gets that stubborn side from, and that's our old man. Anyone who's lucky enough to have met him will know that once he'd made the decision, there was bugger all you could do to change his mind, and Lisa is exactly the same. So, as Lisa's dad, back in 1997, I guess, Lisa went on a girly holiday to Spain where she got her tongue pierced, and I, as Lisa's dad, went ballistic. And I bluntly told her that there was no way she could wear that under my roof, and she wasn't getting any more pocket money until she took it out. Lisa said, fine, and went up to her room where she spent most of the next 48 hours. Now, the ending to this story, I think, is utterly, utterly unique, just remembering how stubborn my old man was. But basically, as Lisa stubbornly stayed in her room, my dad started to feel guilty and eventually caved. He went to her room, sheepishly apologised, and then reinstated Lisa's pocket money and gave her a few extra quid on top just to say sorry. I mean, I couldn't flipping believe it. That would never happen to me. But fair play to Lisa, she outstubborned the stubbornator. And then Lisa and my old man struck a deal that Lisa would remove that tongue stud before she went for her first proper job. Lisa, do you still have that? Yeah, there it is. Now that is how you do stubborn. So Gareth, be afraid. Be very afraid. The other thing about Lisa is absolutely how cool she is. I mean, she doesn't even have to try. Back in 2003, I was living in Cardiff and Lisa was working in outer New York, already way cooler than me. But I was a bit more handsome at the time and a lot more single, and I'd just been on a date with one of the 3am girls. She was a lame tabloid journalist, but nonetheless it was the most famous person I'd ever dated, so I got straight on the PC and sent Lisa an email just to show off. I thought I was pretty cool, until Lisa simply replied, "Hi Rich, that's nothing. I've just started dating a New York record producer and he lives next door to Eddie Murphy." Damn it, fine, we win this time. But then, a couple of weeks later, I went to a music festival and I ended up having an arm wrestle with the lead singer out of a band called Supergrass. They were pretty big at the time. And so I got straight back on the computer and emailed, "Lisa, get this, I just wrestled Gaz out of Supergrass." To which Lisa replied, "Well, I've just got back from a party at Puff Daddy's house." Damn it again, and I've never tried to out-cool Lisa ever since. So, back into dad mode, I wanted to just turn my sights on Gareth for a moment. So, genuinely, he's hard-working, he's talented, he's driven, he's got a great career ahead of him, and most importantly of all, he truly loves Lisa. I know that he's going to look after her until, well, for the rest of his days. And so on behalf of my mum and on behalf of me as Lisa's dad and our mum, and probably everyone else in the room, we're truly grateful that Lisa settled down with one of life's good guys. Because Lord only knows, before Gareth, there was a good few mistakes. Before prior to Gareth, Lisa dated a menagerie of thugs, idiots, oafs, imbeciles, baddies and ne'er-do-wells. And morons, don't forget the morons. And morons. So yeah, we're really happy that Lisa left all of those losers behind and settled down with one of life's winners. I know it's something of a cliche, but today I don't feel that I'm as much losing a daughter as much as I'm gaining a son. Whereas I don't feel that I'm losing a sister as much as I'm gaining a personal decorator, a gardener, a DIY wizard, and an awesome drinking buddy. And frankly, I would have happily swapped Lisa for a bottle of Beck's and half a pack of Pringles. I think I got a pretty good deal. So I figure as the last of my fatherly duties is to give the couple a little advice. So I've been married to my beautiful wife, Liz, and for 35 years, and marriage is all about compromise. Lisa and Gareth, you're beautifully and brilliantly suited, but remember you are still individuals. Celebrate those differences and find a happy middle ground for all of life's important decisions. So I admit I don't have anywhere near the amount of worldly experience as my parents, but I did get married last year to my wonderful wife, Sean. Sean, give us a wave. And genuinely, my first year of marriage has been absolutely glorious. So I do have some advice that goes directly to Gareth, actually. So Gareth, it's important, mate, that it's really important that you let Lisa know who's the boss. So if you haven't done so already, as soon as this speech is over, I urge you to look Lisa directly in the eye and confidently and firmly tell her, Lisa, you are the boss. give up now, mate. It will send you a world of pain. And so for my final words as Lisa's dad, then Lisa, you've made me and your mum incredibly proud. You've turned into an amazing young woman, and I know that you and Gareth got a lifetime of love, fun and happiness ahead. Now, I did want to make one last point, which was that I've said lots of nice things about Lisa on behalf of my dad, but I haven't really said that many nice things as her brother. But knowing that it was always going to be difficult for me to tell Lisa how I really felt about her, I wrote it down instead. So quite a few people in the room have got a banner, so if you can get yourselves ready, if you have, what I'm going to do, I'm going to count you guys down. Remember to show the pink heart to Lisa. So get yourselves ready, okay? And then I'm going to count you down. As soon as I get to 1, please stand up and hold that bit of paper towards Lisa, way above your head. So 3, 2, 1. There's one more, there's a secret message for Gareth. So when I count you down again, please, can you spin the cards around? So 3, 2, 1, this one's for you, Gareth. So there's one last thing to do, and this one is of course on behalf of both me and my old man. It's the big one, the big toast. So could everyone be upstanding for this one, please? So this one goes out to the hottest new couple in the world, the brand spanking new Mr. and Mrs. Jenkins. Brilliant. So I think that's about it, guys. Feel free to sit down. I think there's somebody else in the room who wants to get up and just say the last couple of words.